Hello, viewers. Welcome back. Welcome to new viewers also. It's time for another Akashic reading. I absolutely love doing these. Today, I've been thinking all morning. It's November 4th, 2 days before Election Day, and I've been thinking all morning for some reason about Dr. Martin Luther King. And so I asked him to step forward and to guide me in this reading, to help us see in this time we're going through now, and maybe parallels to what he went through in his lifetime. I've already laid the cards out, and it's really interesting what has come forward. I'm also, because one of the cards that came out was Archangel Michael, so I'm just going to ask Archangel Michael to guide us through this reading also, because he's very strongly here and has a message as well. So the first card, which came out, I'm just going to turn the camera down a little bit here. The first card that came out is the Lookout. This has come up in a previous reading with Donald Trump, and it's interesting. It's someone who is up in the crow's nest of a ship, and he's looking to the far horizons. He's actually looking this way. He's looking out to the horizons with his binoculars and looking for his destiny, looking for his future, looking for where he can build his wealth and his home and his family. But he's looking so far out that he's not seeing the fires and the battles on his own ship that may sink his own ship. And I think what Dr. King is telling me here is that so many of us look so far to the horizons that we don't see the battles going on right here. We don't see the suffering going on right under our feet also. And that this is something that, even though he looked to the distance, he was about going the distance, he also felt these flames and these challenges beneath him, and the flames rising up. I'm sure he felt the heat coming up under his feet. And that's the challenge, is to set the long-term goals, but also help extinguish those flames that are right under your feet before your ship sinks. The second card, and this is really a beautiful card, is called the Karmic Trench, Four of Scrolls. And this shows a man, he's digging and digging and digging trenches and never planting anything. He's just digging and digging, and he's digging the trenches deeper and deeper, but he's never planting anything. And this is about being tied to old beliefs. It's a very difficult pattern to break. It's being tied to old beliefs. It's almost it is self-defeating. It's self-sabotaging. You're digging, but you're never planting. So how are you going to have food to live on? How are you going to have anything to harvest or anything to sell, or to make money on in your crops? It's about being defeated through feelings, thoughts, and actions, all those old beliefs tied to old thoughts and behaviors. And it's getting harder and harder to escape the trench, because you just keep digging it deeper instead of planting something. So it's all about sabotaging through old choices, and it requires a very conscious effort to break this pattern, and it requires a very strong commitment to break this pattern. And that's for African Americans here who worked in the fields as slaves, who are trying to break out of these trenches and trying to have growth opportunities. There are so many that are tied to old beliefs that they don't allow them to plant their fields also, and to cultivate their crops and contribute to society as a whole. it's time to let go of those old beliefs. It's time to let go of those old patterns and old behaviors and old actions. It's time to consciously break free of those patterns and commit to it. That as a country, that we want to break free of those patterns. And then, as I referred to earlier, Archangel Michael comes in. He's protecting these children, and it's about the future. It's about the future of for our children, and for creating harmony and balance. It's about channeling divine power. When we feel powerless, when we feel stuck in the trenches, it's about channeling divine power, knowing that there is strength and support. Archangel Michael offers strength and support. He helps us grow our courage. And through growing our courage, we feel our own power. We feel our own resourcefulness. We can feel ourselves climbing out of the trenches and breaking down those old beliefs. So this card, it really heralds a greater courage, a greater force, a greater initiative, and a greater action. Archangel Michael has the power to move mountains. Divine energy has the power to move mountains. So when we think we can't climb out of the trench, when we think we can't move a mountain, if we follow our divine energy, we do know we have the power. Divine energy has the power to move mountains. And then the last card is Paths Unknown. Paths Unknown. It's about traveling a known path because we're comfortable with it. We know what the outcomes are going to be. We just get stuck on the same path. But there's two other paths. One is in light, has a lot of light and sunlight on it. The other path is shadowy and can appear fearful, a scary place. But sometimes it's about not being attached to the fear of uncertainty, not being attached to the path you're on, and stepping into the shadows. Don't feel fear, feel excitement. You're stepping into the shadows. See the unseen opportunities. It's risky, but it's also got unexpected options. It's about being flexible. It's about being brave, courageous. Again, using Archangel Michael energy to help us feel brave and courageous and feel our power. But knowing that there's opportunities in the most unexpected places, so don't be afraid to step into the shadows. And when you feel fear, let the fear go. Feel the excitement of new opportunities that are coming. I had to, after I laid the cards, before I started filming, I had to go get out one of my poetry books because I, of course, started thinking of Robert Frost's poem about the road less traveled. And he says, I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So it's time for us to take the road less traveled. On the bottom of the deck, this is a really interesting card, always is in this deck. It's called Will, Wisdom, and Mind. It's like a major arcana card in this deck. Will, Wisdom, and Mind. It has a golden crown at the top, which represents power. It has the Celtic Trinity knot, which represents the alchemy of fire and water. The fire represents creativity, water represents receptivity. And, if fire gets out of control, it is destructive. If water gets out of control, it'll put the fire out. So it's about balancing receptivity and creativity. And then an interesting symbol here, I had to actually look this one up. This is the three-legged symbol for the Isle of Man. And the three-legged symbol symbolizes however you land, you stand. Because if that three-legged symbol, if it's going around and around, kind of like a Wheel of Fortune, if it's spinning around and around, it doesn't matter where it stops, you're going to land on your feet. So however you land, you stand. This card represents three rays of the divine, power and will, love and wisdom. You can't have wisdom without love, and empathy, and they go hand in hand. So although the card states will, wisdom, and mind, wisdom, you have to have love. You can't have will without power. And then mind, you can't have the mind without intellect. So again, it's about integrating those three also. This card is really about enormous power. It's about balancing, and it's about expression. So I think that's something that Dr. King did in his lifetime here, and he's saying, it's time to do this again, about having the creativity, but about having reception to it, and knowing you're going to land on your feet. Bringing in the power and the wisdom and the intellect when you're looking out from your ship in our country. As we're looking out from our ship, will help us to see the dangers aren't overseas and foreign lands. The danger's right here on our own ship. I think we see that time and time again when our white nationalists act up. The dangers are right here. And the way that we're going to move through that is by getting out of the trench. Getting out of the trench, breaking down old beliefs, finding our divine power, our divine energy, finding our strength and our support, and having courage to take the road less traveled, go down the path that may be shadowy but has unexpected opportunities, and bringing the country together that way. So again, so much wisdom comes through with these cards, and I thank Dr. King for coming through for me today and helping me bring this message. It feels like uncertain times, but just stand in your own power, stand in your own truth, know we're protected. Archangel Michael is here, so when you feel those fears bubbling up, call on Archangel Michael to help you with those fears. And feel the energy changing. I mean, I just keep feeling it. The energy is changing, and even though these old patterns keep happening and happening, I feel so much hope for our country right now. I feel, even though we see a lot of ugliness and things that go on, there is hope. There is so much strength in our country, and there's so much wisdom in our country, and there's so much opportunity in our country. And the more we stand in our truth and our light, the more we're going to squelch the negative, the fear-based, the people that want to pull us back down into old beliefs, back down into the trench. So I hope you found that enlightening, and please like the video if you like that, and subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. Yeah, just stand in your strength. I'm feeling that very strongly right now. Thanks for watching. Bye.